What is up, fam? What is up, fam? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, if you haven't seen the title, I am going to be sitting down. In fact, I've already sat down with them. I'm sitting down with an interracial couple. You guys are probably familiar with Pam, but in today's video, we're gonna sit down with her and her husband, and we're gonna, guys, it's such like, after interviewing them and just sitting with them, I literally had to just sit for a moment and just take everything they said in, because I was just like, oh my gosh, you guys went through all this just to be together. It's so crazy. And the fact that you guys are in South Africa. Now, they've been busy, I've been busy, it's been a mission trying to put schedules together, but we finally did it. We finally sat down. You guys are gonna see. I am gonna come in, I'm gonna show you guys what we spoke about. I'm gonna open your eyes to what's it really like to be in an interracial marriage couple. Their races are not even like the I don't even want to say standard. Like in certain races, if one of them was white, it would be, oh, so cute, glamorized, or like it would have been a bit easier. But their races, they both come from races that don't get along. Like, yes, you rarely find like a black person and an Indian person getting married. They are out there, but you rarely find it, just because their races don't gel. Like, they don't like one another. Like, there's always like this tension between their races. So it was like very interesting. I know, because Pam's my friend, I would hear and see the things she would go through, but even just sitting down and speaking to them, I was still like shocked, because I was still like, oh my gosh, people actually go through this. People actually, you know, did this to them. So it's pretty exciting. It's a really fun, even though it's such a heavy topic, it's a really fun video, and I'm so excited for you guys to see it. But before I get into it, I just want to give a shout out to these two people on the screen. Shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for being the first two people that commented in my previous video. And yeah, let's go into it. Once again, this is them just being open and honest about their experience. Not everyone's experience is the same, but yeah, we try to cover everything. So I hope you guys enjoy it. See you guys after this. Hi everyone. So before we start, I would love you guys to like literally introduce yourselves. So starting with the cutie on the dad's lap.
Say hi.
Hi.
I'm Jordan.
Hi. Hi.
These are my glasses.
These are your glasses. Yes, they are.
And that is Sebastian.
Hi, Sebastian. Reddy, the husband.
Pam, the queen.
So in this marriage, Sebastian actually took Pam's last name. It was the opposite way.
I took Pam to it.
It took my last name.
I'm joking. She took Sebastian's last name. Okay, so when I reached out to you guys, I literally thought, I've been wanting to speak about this. It's just that it's such a, number one, sensitive topic. Number two, I wanted to be comfortable with the people I ask these questions to. Number three, obviously we all know I'm not in an interracial relationship at all. I am in a different relationship. So I have a few questions for you guys, and I just want to know, like, literally, what's it like being an interracial couple? But before we get into that question, I want to know, how did you guys meet?
At church.
Yeah, we met at church. I was at the church that we went to for like
Her whole life.
my whole life. And then
I joined.
he joined when?
Now, how many years we made? 3, going on 4. Then it'll be 4 years. 2 years before that. 6 years
Yeah,
ago.
so 6 years ago, he was a newcomer, and that's where we met.
Yeah, and then I have eventually decided to join the church, and then it's on the floor, baby. And then I decided to join the band, for which Pamela was part of the band already. And then, oh, there was one day that how I got her number was, there's a day that I needed Pamela to sing me a song that we were singing in church, and I didn't know the lyrics to. So she had flu, and she said to me, well, my voice is not going to sound as good as it's supposed to, and the song's not going to come out right. I was like, it's okay. And then that's how I got her number.
Sneaky. So then from then onwards, what happened? You guys started sending voice notes?
No, so it was very quiet for the
No,
that
that's
is a once-off.
yeah, that was a once-off. We didn't. I mean, we'd see each other at church. We weren't even like.
No, actually, it's so weird how random it is. If you go through my Facebook and my Instagram, you actually see that Pamela and I have actually been out so much in the same
We
circles.
used to be in the same circles.
And most of the time,
Oh.
Yeah, no.
most of the times we're actually standing close to each other.
Yeah, but at that time, it wasn't anything.
She wasn't even a speck in my eye.
Ugh, please. You were wanting me, please.
And so you went from all that to, oh my gosh, I want to marry this person.
No.
Where did you guys?
Bring me closer to Daddy. That's the story.
Take us on this journey because we're trying to figure out like when did it go from like sending voice notes, sending like voices of one another.
Okay, so I was single. Pamela was single. Okay.
Okay.
And it was a case of we were volunteering at church this one Sunday, and it was sorry, baby. It was around 5 to 6.
It doesn't matter.
5 to 5 actually, and we were ushering. Yeah, it was like 5 to 5, like 5 minutes to.
It was before
church starts.
The evening service.
Yes. Well, it was 5 minutes because we started to usher people into the church, and then Pamela had. So obviously I told Pam, please can you help me get the people inside the church? So Madam decides to clap her hand and tell everyone, get your asses into the church. So I was a bit taken aback, and I was like, I could never date a woman like you. And then I could feel that she was a bit offended.
No, I wasn't offended.
No, I thought that she was.
No.
I thought that she was, but she actually wasn't. But I was still, I don't normally talk to people like that, so it was a bit of a shocker for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up apologizing the whole night. Well, not really the whole night. Till about, what time we got home? Around after 8. And then 9 o'clock, then we just started talking. Your favorite color, your favorite music, your favorite food. We spoke.
It was a thing of, because he thought that I was offended by his comment or whatever, he messaged me to say,
I'm sorry.
No.
Please forgive me.
No.
Mommy.
I still have those chats.
He said something along the lines of, I'm going to make sure you keep thinking of me. So that was like, so then I was like, okay.
You'll think of me.
He was very like.
Was that like, did it come across like, this guy likes me, or was it like, this is me? Like,
no, it didn't start about that.
I didn't even think anything of it, if I'm being very honest. But because he kept the conversation going, I also kept responding, and that's how we actually started talking.
Mm-hmm.
Like full on talking.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we spoke till about 1:30 that night, the next morning, sorry. And then I was sold by that night. The next morning, Pamela got up at 7 and we spoke for the whole week. Like, I didn't even work those few days. I was just chatting to Pam the whole time.
So you were in love. You were in love already. You were smitten.
Obviously.
No, it started off with a very interesting conversation. I enjoyed the attention. And then, then it started to be like, okay, now I'm into this person.
So that which leads to my next question. When did you guys know that, okay, I really like this person and this could be it? When did you guys know? Was there like a time where, for example, Pam, Sebastian did something and you were like, this is the guy I think I want to marry? Like, do you guys remember specifically?
I can speak from my perspective.
Okay.
So coming out of failed relationships, I always knew that I'll never want to date someone without marrying the person. So I knew I wasn't going to play games. So, and that very same week, I knew that I was going to date her.
Okay. I was going to say the same thing. Within that same week, I knew, okay, he's somebody that I would date because he had all the qualities that I liked. There was depth to him. We could hold a conversation. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like, oh, what's the weather like? Like we had actual conversation.
And
I mean,
hate to text you.
no hate. Oh, that's another thing that I liked. Another thing that I liked was, if he couldn't, because he doesn't like texting. So because he doesn't like texting, he would phone me. So we would have actual verbal conversation for like an hour at a time on a regular basis.
Oh, and my bulls. Yeah.
So that's what I like. He put in time to actually talk to me instead of just like that. What you doing? What you
What you
doing?
up to?
I don't even know what you're doing. The WUD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
I can't.
I could never do that.
I mean, if that's your vibe, then that's your vibe. But I appreciated like how intentional he was. Like, you know, he'd phone me every day after work on his way home. And that's how we properly built a friendship and a relationship. Because we actually had conversations and would like link up and all of that.
Yeah.
So now from all that to deciding, okay, now we're gonna date, we're going public. How was that? Because Pam, you like half-colored Zulu, okay? And then Sebastian is Indian. And those two races do not get along in general. So technology, we have to wait until they join again. So I was saying, like, it must have been like, did you guys have like any fears or just fear of like going public or dating because of your races? Like, and I always say, you guys' races are not the bestest of friends. It's not like a normal combination. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Back home, most of it's white or black. Yeah, it's white or black, black or white. But like when you see a whole Indian and like a black Zulu, a girl with a whole afro combined, it's like, do you guys have stairs in the mall? Like, what was your family like?
Okay, let me talk from a personal perspective. For my family, it was a very big culture shift. It was horrible. I had to cut family members out.
Oh, God.
It was horrible. It was horrible, but I knew what I wanted, and I wasn't compromising with anyone. It was not their relationship for them to have a say in it. Until this day, I stand firm on my words.
Was this purely like, did you have to like? Was this purely because of a race, or was it because they didn't like Pam?
It is mostly because she was black. I think my family would have not minded if it was any other race but black.
Okay. And you, Pam?
So let me finish that part.
Okay.
So up till this day, I still don't talk to those family members. I still don't negotiate with terrorists because I find it to be very. It's like an assassination on your relationship. It's like terrorism. They're trying to kill something. They're trying to break down something that's already been formed.
Okay.
I don't negotiate with terrorism.
And you, Pam?
From my family side, my family is open to anybody who is open to them. So because he is like a social butterfly and he gelled with them, they had no problems with his race. And with regards to like, you know, going out, we would always get the looks.
Yeah.
And it's mostly from
black and Indian.
No, Indian like female Indians. They'd look at me like I took money out of their purse. That's and some people would look at us trying to make the connection. You know, it's not like a vicious. It's like, you know, like they've got a whole bunch of question marks. Like, what? Yeah, like how like they try, like we'd be in a restaurant and like maybe a family of black or whoever would be like looking into my eyeballs, trying to figure out
what is happening.
How did this happen? Like, you know, they're trying to make
it's so weird. It's honestly not even in a bad way. It's just like I grew up, and you guys know how I grew up, but I grew up with diversity because of the church we went to. Like, you forget that your friend is actually a different race because you guys until they do something or you attend an event where there's only one type of race, then you're like a reminder that, oh, it does exist, kind of.
Yes.
So like, even I know with you guys, when you guys would come to like our family functions, like if we have a wall or whatever, they're like, the first time you guys came to my family, they were like, Pam is really an Indian guy? Because I'd be like, oh, Pam and her boyfriend's coming, you know? And it's like, and my family is like, even though we like half Zulu, half colored, we mix both. Like at home, we speak English a lot, you know? But then when it comes to like functions, we do a lot of traditional functions. We do Zulu stuff, like lobola and everything. So I can't, like, we kind of have been exposed to both worlds, and we know what it's like for people to like diss us because our English is like high. They say it's high class, and it's not like our Zulu is not as like a Zulu person. It's not like the best of the best compared to theirs. But they would still get a shock. They would be like when you guys came, they were like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know. So I can only imagine, like, you guys, has anyone said it to your face? Has anyone like asked like friends that have been like, but why Sebastian, or why Pam? You know, like,
Well, not, I don't know, not me too much. I think also what was the shock was how fast our relationship happened, because not a lot of people saw us hanging out a lot, but because we were communicating like telephonically and hanging out outside of church, you know, the people who were not around us outside of church were like, because it just happened so quickly.
Yeah.
But I do remember comments made by my good friend.
Don't say names.
I'm gonna beep that because you can't drop people's names. Don't.
No. A comment made by one of my good friends. He said to me, "You have now selected the right one." Until this day, he stands firm on his words that I have made the right decision for my life, because he's seen how I elevated myself by marrying him.
She doesn't tolerate nonsense. She doesn't have time to like BS.
I don't tolerate nonsense.
And I typically don't care like what anybody says. Like I don't let people's insecurities be projected onto me. So it's very helpful to have someone who will still stand up for you even against their family. Like it's not my problem that they have a problem with somebody who is not Indian. I know that I love him, he loves me. So whatever they had to say just slid right off my back, because I knew I had somebody who was defending me. I didn't feel like it's me against his entire family and him as well. Like he drew a line and he was like, nah fam, this is who I'm choosing. She chooses me back, and you are respected whether you like it or not. That helps as well, to have somebody who will still have your back, even against their own family.
Okay. Are you guys like the first people in your family to marry outside your race?
I'm the only person.
So nobody else after you guys? No, has anyone like hinted that they want to marry outside your race?
For as long as my bloodline has been, there has never been a Jordan. There has never been a mix in our family. It's always been looked down on. Up till this very day, it is looked down on.
So is it looked down on because of the type of race? So like if let's say Pam was white, if you married a white person, would it still be a problem?
So the problem with South Africa is that everyone has a problem with African. Legit. Yeah. Everyone has a problem with black people, regardless of who trust and believe.
Okay, let's not say everyone. Let's say most.
Sorry.
Okay, most people.
Yeah. Okay.
Most people have issues with black people. They would have been very fine if I dated a thoroughbred colored girl who was light-skinned, who had straight hair. Okay, so it would seem that my whole family, for as far as I know, for as far as I've lived in this family, they only have a problem with an African person. Only. It's just the color of her skin and the way her hair texture is. 100%.
That is so weird. Because I've had this conversation with like a friend who's Indian, and she said the same thing in her family. Like, if you marry somebody who's white, like they're like, oh my gosh, you know, like
You made it in life.
they're making it such an honor. They like lift your marriage up, and everyone is for you. But the minute you marry somebody who is not white, it's like, why are you going outside your race? Like, are the girls in your race not okay? Like, you know, that whole questioning. So I wondered, because as I said, you guys' combination is not common, even though we have grown. And I think moving to America, this also have opened my eyes to that not many people are exposed to different races. Like I just acknowledge that the way I grew up in the church I went to was special. So like,
Yeah.
because even with my family in general, I remember when I had a friend come to one of the lowballers, and they were like, my granny herself was like wanting to bow down to her because she's white, and I'm like, girl, bye. You
Girl,
get yourself a spoon. You like, you know, and it's like, no, will she be able to eat this? Will she get her a knife? And I was like, listen, sis, we need your help in the kitchen. Like, I was like flat out. I'm like, I need your help in the kitchen. Like, short of people, because they're like, no, like, ask Pam, ask Tubig. I was like, goodbye. Like, why must I ask all my colored and black friends? But sis must be sitting outside in the tent. And the funniest thing is she willingly helped. She's not like that. But it's just how it was so strange to see how my family put it that way. And because they also, like, they have friends of color, don't get me wrong. But it blew my mind that my granny, like, I was just like, wow, you know? And even, there's still a lot of things that I guess growing up I realized that are not normal for everyone else. But you guys' combination, like, it is combination. When we used to go to the mall together, it was just like, yo, it's just the humans. Like, there's nothing like, you know. Yeah.
Angel, you know, Pam and I established our marriage and we have kids. Yesterday, Pam and I went out to lunch. Even yesterday, we were still looked at.
Yeah.
Walking the mall, holding hands.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
It's also that thing of forgetting, because now
It's normal.
we've been in this relationship. Like, I forget, and what makes it worse is that he understands Zulu and Xhosa. So even when we're like skinnering with people, we speak in like Zulu or whatever. And it's like I don't wake up every day and think, oh my gosh, there's an Indian man in my bed. So even yesterday when we were going out, like people. It's like I expect everyone to know that, guys, we've been in this relationship. Why are you still looking? But of course, that can never be the case, because not the whole world doesn't know us.
Yeah.
So even though we're so used to each other and our marriage, and I forget that, oh, he's actually a different race, like, we'll still get the looks.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy thing. Like, everyone, they look at me, they look at you. They look at me, they look at them. Even worse when we with our children. Then it's like brown, okay, black brown, Indian brown. What happened here?
Yeah.
And then my son is a replica of me.
And then Luca is exactly like, Luca looks Indian. Like, it's like they're malfunctioning, like, what's going on? So it just never ends. The stares don't end.
Yeah. I can't imagine, because it's like, but like, even like, I remember being in the mall with them and just being like, because like people were looking at them, but then with them it was out of like gratitude. Like, the old mamas would be like so happy. It's like such an honor, you know. But as I said, you guys' combination is like like, it's a special one. Every time I see it, you know, like, I'm like, yes, let's break those barriers. Hey?
Yeah. The races, the reactions are very different.
Yeah, that's
like, I must say, all the black people that I've come across, like maybe at his work function, like, a lot of them will be like, you're my man, you know, like, you know, you did well, you've got a Mam Zulu, you know. It's like a proud thing for they well, so far, you know, no black person has, unless I mean,
No, never had it.
I've got the, like, for example, when I'd go to the hospital when I was pregnant, the nurses would be like, "Oh, you're ready,"
Yeah.
and
yeah.
they'll be like,
I see
"Oh,
that.
what happened? How did that happen?" You know?
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10 from Black people, they like happy for us. The
Yeah.
other race,
Yeah, because even the fact that you can speak Zulu, because I know, like, when you came to my family's events, at first they were like, like Pam's marrying, like she's dating an Indian guy, and I had to be like, yeah, but like he's culturally aware of our culture. I had to be like,
yeah,
because that's my other thing with certain people, like they marry into a race, but they don't want to expose themselves to the race. They don't want to learn about the race. They don't want to like it's almost like they're fine with having you as a person, but the minute it comes to like your
yeah.
family and the culture, they're like, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They want to like pull you away from it. And so I had to like say to my cousins, and my cousins were like, he's gonna show his true colors, like he's gonna be racist to Black people, he's gonna like, you know, like they were convinced until they're like, you guys came and you guys like hung out there and like they spoke to you guys, and Sebastian like responded in Zulu, and it was like, oh, okay. Like I remember my one cousin in particular, I don't want to put on blast, but she was like, I promise you, he's gonna show his true colors. This is like a fetish thing. He's just going through a phase, whatever. He's just gonna date you. He wants to just say he's been with a Black girl kind of thing. And I was like, I don't know. Because I was like, I really don't know. I don't think so. And I kept saying like, that's not how we were raised at church. Like, that's not how our church is, because at our church, it's so multicultural. They're like, nah, like they always say the racist people are gonna show their heads. And then when you guys started coming more to functions, and they started seeing your personality and started speaking, and then Lisa started adding in, like, no, he's not like that, because like Lisa would speak to you, and then Danny was like, no, he's not. So then people were like my family was like, oh yeah, like, you know, that they started like believing like, oh, he could be like genuinely in love with her, like not to say there's like a hidden motive. Like, I've been saying this the whole time, he can be in love with her. There's no like hidden motive, because the thing is that some guys want to have this, oh, I dated a Black girl with my wife, like, you know, like a trophy wife situation. It was like, no. And they've like received like, they like chill now they're like, oh my gosh, Pam's having a baby, oh my gosh, I saw Sebastian's video, like, you know, it's like whatever now. It's like, so what? They defend you guys to other people at functions if they throw shade. But yeah, it's like, on the other hand, I can see Sebastian's race not accepting you, because
I'm not even gonna mince my words. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like the females, I don't care. I don't care who says what, because at the end of the day, it's my experience. So you can't argue with me. But a lot of the female strangers that are just looking at us walking to the mall will look at me like I freaking stole their babies out of their hands.
And you're not the first one. I have a friend.
So I just started also like, can I help you? Hello? Greet me, because they'll like stay, and some of them even look back. When they look back like this.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're not the first one, because I have a friend who was dating this white guy, and she's Indian, and she said the exact same thing. She said that the woman in her culture, she's Indian, she dated a white guy. You would think they would be like, oh my God, like her family was totally fine. They loved him. But she said like, and she was telling me about this one incident where they were together, and like there was a group of like Indian people walking by, guys and girls, whatever, and they were obviously looking at them as a couple, and they weren't even like holding hands or doing anything like romantic. They were literally just walking as a couple, and the way the women were like looking at her down, like dirty, and her boyfriend at the time like literally like pulled her in and like held her hand to give them a show. He was like, you want a show? I will give you a show, because he was saying he didn't want any confusion. He didn't want it to be like, are they friends? He was like, you're gonna know this is my girlfriend, kind of. And she was like, it's never like you get some, they're like, oh my gosh, your boyfriend is so sweet, he's white, that kind of stuff. But he's like, the girls their age, or like the younger generation, were like looking at us so dirty, like we sinned, we did like some,
Yeah.
yeah. But okay,
Angel,
yeah.
you know, in my from my perspective, being in a multiracial relationship, also being from an Indian domination, actually, or denomination.
Mm-hmm.
Domination is another word.
I don't know what
In
word
an
you're
Indian
looking for.
denomination, it feels as though I have let the Indian community down. So one of the things that, and I can speak from my experience again, and I'm not going to put this on Indian people, or if Indian people watch this, a lot of the times the manner in which they address other people has a negative connotation. Like, oh, does your black wife know how to cook Indian food? Is she gonna be able to feed you the way you're supposed to be eating? Can't you make roti? Can't you do this? Can't you do that? I never marry her for her cooking skills.
And we preach to every guy, not just the Indian guys. Listen, I'm tired of people trying to ask if you can cook. That's like literally dating apps. They're like, "Can you cook?" I'm just like, bye.
And you know, oftentimes, and I speak from me because I'm the best reference I know. I will never allow someone to badmouth my spouse. I'll never allow someone to speak down on my spouse. Whose spouse is this? Yours or mine? I'd never allow, like, never. And it's happened so much in my family. Like, to an extent where I drove to one of my family members' house and I asked my family member, are you sleeping next to my wife? Are you going to be sleeping with my wife? That you're so worried about who's in my bed? And like, it is, I can speak for my family because it's so toxic. To an extent where a family member, a very close family member, had actually asked my mother, are you okay with this? So I stepped out to like, because my mother's marrying her. Is my mother marrying her or is it me? And I even told my mother very nice the one day. And my mother, okay, I didn't tell my mom, Pam's black.
So you came home, you were just like, I'm bringing my girlfriend home. Surprise,
Yes.
she's black too.
So when I came home, mom called me to them. She's like, she's black. I'm like, so
I didn't know
at
that.
that
I
very
didn't
moment,
surprise.
I wanted to see my mom's reaction. And that is the day when I told my mother, you choose where you want to be. You either want to be in my life or not. Very simple. And then from that day, my mother's, okay, there has been times where mom has forgotten that Pamela's black.
Oh.
There's been many times, but I can promise you that I have the full support of those that matter in
Yeah,
my life.
that's what
And
matters.
it's not about them supporting my marriage. I don't need them to support my marriage. The only support I need is this two anchors here. It's my spouse and myself. I don't need them to support my marriage. But I love the fact that they are with me.
Okay. Is this like the first relationship outside you guys' race for both of you? Have you guys dated other races?
Yes, I have.
I haven't.
I have, but it's never been the same. Like, I've dated another black woman before who died, rest in peace.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing. It's a okay. Next.
Please edit
Wait,
that
yeah,
out.
I don't know why I'm laughing. Yeah.
How's it?
The way you said it.
Just because the way I said it.
Okay, what's the next thing?
And then I've dated a white girl. Not that girl. Not the one. I never
Stop.
dated her.
Pam, I know exactly what you're doing. Stop. Hi, Pam.
No, I dated and then I dated only Indians.
So you have dated your race. So it wasn't even like, so, because there's some.
I'm not the first.
Yeah. So there's some
I'm
people
not
where
the
it's
first
like
black.
they just date like only black girls their whole life. So by the time they get married, then like their family, even though they don't accept it, kind of knew that so and so's only been black, you know. So you had dated an Indian girl, so you've tried it. So I don't know why they threw heavy foot, because you tried everything.
No, because I've never taken someone home. I've only taken one other ex-fiance home.
Fiance,
Well,
you were
I
engaged.
hope she's watching this video. I really hope. I'll post it on my status.
Oh
She
wait,
will
I
see.
know this. Wait, is she Indian?
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna play a game. I'm gonna ask you guys a few questions about one another. Sebs, what's one word that describes Pam?
Oh, you want her to confirm it, or
No, I'm
No.
asking you with your question.
oh, what's one word that describes Pam? I'll use the easiest one I can think of. Perfect.
No,
Pam?
I'm not.
No,
Pam's
pass for me.
Pam's perfect.
No,
Okay.
I'm looking for the word that says
Trying to not get it.
oh yes, no, I've got the word now. So the one word that actually describes Pam is phenomenal. Because I always think, when I think about my wife, I think about the poem Phenomenal Woman.
Okay. Pam, what's one word that describes Sebastian?
I've always had a few, but my favorite one that describes Sebastian is intentional.
Oh, really?
Like with everything. Yeah.
Okay. Let me start with Pam since I saw Sebastian. Pam, mountain or ocean? Like perfect
Mountain or-
anniversary or vacation. The mountain or the ocean?
Ocean. I'd
Don't
have to
say
go.
water.
I can stare at a mountain with his bears. I'm sorry. Like I can stare at the ocean. I can like bask in the sun. I like sitting in the sun.
Okay.
But a mountain, in yoga, snakes, bears.
Sebastian?
Look, for me, I'd have to say, hate the beach. So I'd say mountain.
Wow.
Pause.
Pause.
Lucas up.
Look us up.
Okay, if you guys could write a book together, what would you call it?
Yeah.
Let's take it. What would the book be about, first of all?
Redeeming Love, actually.
What?
I've read that book. I've read that book because someone forced me to read it, but I did enjoy it. Can I mention his name?
No.
Okay. So,
But we can't name it Redeeming Love. That book exists already.
Yeah.
from an Indian and African version.
No.
What's your storyline? Like, what is it going to be about? The same thing as that book?
You know, the storyline would actually be exactly a play on events. Just jotting down the events makes for a good read. The events I've led up to now, the journey of finding my partner, to proposing, to
The challenges.
the amount of mockery that we had, the amount of negative people actually saying, no, you shouldn't be doing this. He's gonna play with you. Don't give too much of yourself. Like, people actually spoke death over something that they did not understand. To find that they're actually in the same boat that we were in 4 years ago. And I think it'll actually be a chain of events.
Oh, you'd call it a chain of events?
Yeah, chain of events.
I don't know what I would call it, but yeah, there's a lot that has gone on that a lot of people probably don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
But through it all, I would call it "But through it all."
Oh,
That's nice.
that's good.
Yeah.
We are officially at the end of our questions. Thank you so much for coming on and answering and just having fun with me. I love having you guys. Sebastian, it's actually the first time properly on my channel. Pam is a regular, but yeah.
Angel, I don't know if you can add this to the end of your video. And I think it would be nice if, because I'm in this video, let me just feature and just give men some advice from an Indian guy into a multiracial relationship.
Okay, we will zoom in. This is your moment. Go forth. I'll be quiet.
The only thing that I'd like to, for people, not the only thing, I'd really like, being in a multiracial relationship is very difficult.
Interracial.
Well, we're multi now, we've got kids. I think one of the things that you need to be is grounded. You need to be intentional. You need to be firm. And please don't play with people's feelings. Women are not toys to be played with. I highly encourage you to not do that. Because trust me, you're the only person that actually get burned. I am a firm believer on women empowerment, and I'm a firm believer on Black economic empowerment. Not because I'm married to an African person or a Black person, as they would call us, but it's because I believe that I'm an equal to my wife and not superior. Um, and I think as a man and as a father and as a head of my home, I think nothing, I can tell, not I think, I know nothing will happen in this house without my spouse. So it's actually a foundation that you need to build. So if you don't have that, don't even bother. Forget about it. Because trust me, if you do force it, you'll actually be divorced in the first 2 years of your marriage. That's my advice.
That's hectic, Cam. What's your piece on the guy who fights for you if you're gonna go interracial vibes?
If you are going to get into an interracial relationship, okay, normal relationships have their challenges.
They're tough as well.
Normal relationships have their challenges, but there's just something about being in an interracial one where cultures cross, races cross, that just bring like the next level of pressure or whatever you want to call it. But I think if you are confident in yourself and you know that you are not inferior just because you're Black or colored or anything but, then you're good. And if your partner believes in you and believes in the relationship, and it's very important for both people in the relationship to keep choosing each other, because everybody else is not rooting for you. Actually,
It's true.
everybody else is not. So as long as you guys, like the two of us, are rooting for each other, then honestly everybody else doesn't matter. Because just because they're smiling at you does not mean they are
They're
for
happy for
your.
you.
It does not mean that. And it can come from the closest people. It can come from the closest people to me. It can come from the closest people to him. Just because they smile does not mean they've tried to fool me, but I see past all of that. So as long as you keep choosing each other, this is why I said in the beginning, he's very intentional. He's intentional with me when we are around his family. Okay, because between our families, his family is the one with the problem. So he's very intentional about that. And that's why it's my favorite description of him, because through it all, he still chooses me. And I will always obviously choose him. So as long as the two people in the relationship are rooting for each other, then it goes a long way.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, I'm ready. Jordy Pops, Luca, wherever you are, baby. Thanks for that. I'm like sitting here, I'm like, it's just got real. Like,
It's a nice topic.
I am glad.
It's like I can Sebastian just started speaking. I was like, yeah, audio is fine. And then I was like, because outside looking in, Instagram just shows the good side of it. And this is why I want to have more conversations about it, because it's like my eyes have been open to that. Not everyone was raised, and that's also the purpose of my channel and everything, is that not everyone was raised with the way we were raised. Not everyone is raised with, and there's stories like, because I'm in you guys' life, I know the stories, but some people just see pictures of you guys and just see you guys on social media and be like, oh, it was easy for you. And like, they didn't know that to get to where you are with Sebastian's family, there was a fight, you know? And it's like still a constant fight, because when you go to more, justify your relationship. Whereas people that are in the same race don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? They don't like justify why they're together. There's no hidden motive like, oh, you colored, he's colored, you want him for something. It's never, you know, or it's like, oh, maybe it's just a phase. I hate when people say it's just a phase. I'm just like,
You know,
I'm on
it's such a
10% battery.
Yeah, I was saying so too.
it's such an important part of our culture here in South Africa, because at this point we need people to understand the value for diversity and the value for love. If and I use this word today, I used it. If not for God,
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Because we centered our dating relationship on God. Back in the day, like Pam and I would have legit conversations about God, and it would actually center that. Like, if not for God, what? Because South Africa is at a breaking point. We could either go and become an amazing country with amazing values and amazing pictures for people to see, or we could actually go right down and plummet ourselves.
Thank you so much. That is it from the Reddy gang. I'm gonna put their socials on the screen in the description. Go follow them, like, comment, subscribe. I know Sebastian is a famous TikToker, so go see all these videos. Pam is also on TikTok. He also on Instagram. Sebastian's also on Instagram also. And comment below, are you in an interracial relationship? Do you have questions for them? Are you nervous? Like, are there any questions we didn't cover? I know it's like, I didn't want to make this a super long video because it's also night time for them too. So I wanted to be respectful of their time. But yeah, I'm so excited. It gave me like an amazing insight. Even though we're from such a diverse country, it's still a bit of a problem, you know, dating other races. But Reddy gang, thank you so much. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye, Jordan.
Bye.